Hi everybody, Beanmeister22 here. Today we are going to cut another geode with our high-tech diamond 10-inch slab saw. This geode is actually small enough we could probably cut it on our 6-inch trim saw, but it would be a lot of work for that smaller saw, and we don't want to overwork that saw when we have this bigger saw that is fully capable of doing the job and doing it well. One thing I am noticing here, that it seems this blade might be dulling a little bit. There are ways to sharpen a diamond blade, but I'm starting to wonder if this is the proper blade that I need for what I'm currently cutting. As I've mentioned before, I have to do a little more research on the topic, but you can spend $500 on a 10-inch diamond blade, and then you can also spend $30 on a 10-inch diamond blade. I guess there's a big quality range there, but since I don't know most of the companies that manufacture these things, I've never heard of them before. And honestly, most of the ones I've seen for sale on Amazon are from Chinese companies. Now that doesn't automatically mean it's not a good quality blade, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be a little suspect of a Chinese-made blade that's selling for $30 that looks identical to a different blade that's selling for $399. Considering my general overall knowledge of the tool industry, not the rock cutting industry, but tools in general, it's best to stick with American-made, Japanese-made, or German-made. Something like this just isn't worth taking a chance on some bargain basement, low-quality blade. So when I figure out which expensive new blade to buy, maybe I'll buy some of the cheaper Chinese-made blades, and I can compare them side by side. But really, I want a blade that's going to work. And I've seen some of the Chinese blades selling for $10 for $50. Now, I mean, if they work good for one or two cuts, hey, I'm perfectly happy with that. You know, the whole disposable blade sort of thing, kind of like a razor. But if they won't cut well, or if they'll disintegrate while you're trying to cut, or, do something weird to damage your saw, well, it certainly isn't worth it. Compare this to spending $400 on a new blade of good quality and being able to get 30 or 40 cuts out of it. Well, I'm definitely happy with that. I'd be happy with 20 or 25 cuts before I have to start thinking about sharpening the blade. Something else we're starting to see here, since this is a thinner blade, I'm getting a little flex and wobble out of it. A thicker blade would be more stout and sturdy, but that thicker blade will also chew up more of your rock. Whereas the thinner blade will give you a more precise cut, and you're not going to lose very much of your geode or rock you're cutting. So yes, there's a lot of things to take into consideration when choosing a blade, when choosing a rock saw, or even when choosing what rocks you can comfortably cut. Alright, so let's take a look at what we did today. This is a very nice looking quartz geode. It has a distinctive pattern inside. At first glance, it kind of looks like it's shaped like the continent of Australia. Though this geode didn't come from Australia, it came from Colorado. It has a fair amount of hollowness to it and some really cool design inside. And as we've seen in our videos, the more hollow it is, the cooler it looks inside, but also the easier it is to cut. And the downside is, the more hollow it is, the more delicate it is during the cutting process. You don't want to break it, or even afterwards. If you're packing this up and sending it to somebody, if the walls are very thin, it's much more likely to become damaged in shipping. I already found this out. In that geode we cut that had that frog face inside, I've already lost one of the frog's eyes just transporting it from home down to work to show the guys. So if you're cutting geodes and you want to move them from point A to point B, bubble wrap is your best friend. No, not just for popping it, going, having the cool fun of popping the bubble wrap, but no, for protecting your geode, your rock, your thing you spent all this time and effort on cutting, producing, discovering. Yeah, you don't want it to be just ruined with a little carelessness bouncing around in a bag. Yeah, it happens. So, what do you think? Did you ever realize it's this easy to cut open rocks and geodes? I've said before, this is a hobby I always wanted to try, always thought it'd be cool to do. Finally got off my rear and tried it, and yes, it is very easy. But like any other hobby you have, you need to have the right tools for the job. Do a little research, watch a few videos, and then see if the tool, saw, blade, thing you are buying will actually accomplish what you want it to accomplish. So with that said, you can ask me any questions, leave them in the comments section, and hey, as always, thanks for watching.
Beanmeister 22, the most dangerous man on YouTube.